Because obviously it's a competition thing. And usually they're too scared to go up that high. Go on, Christopher. You're nearly there now. You're...
My parents, I wouldn't say they forced me, but it's what they did, and they brought me along. And there are many psychological barriers one has to get past during the time when you're developing your personality. And I mean, teaching the child by the book is one thing, but I suppose for me, I believe for my children, I'd like them to learn by my example.
I don't really think I can make it on this nylon rope.
Can I do it again?
Tomorrow, because you're a bit weak now, and if you fall, then I've got to catch you, and you'll probably break my back. You're getting big, boy.
These guys, I'm coming for you. Yeah, you tried to murder my boys. I'm coming for you. Yeah. Right, sorry, Spencer, I got a little bit carried away.
Don't worry about that. Thank you so much. As you're speaking right, Chris, as you're speaking right now, Tundi's wiping tears from his eyes.
Another man's son. I know what weight. I know what 3 pounds beneath 160 when you're 33 years old. When you're 33 years old, to get down to 3 pounds beneath that middleweight limit, it's madness. But he won't listen. And I can't afford for him to feel I've already lost one son. It's not happening. And it didn't happen. Yeah. And I had very little to do with it.
Hi, this is Isaac Chamberlain, and you're watching True School Sports.
Well, it's personal between me, and I'm going to do you some serious harm, you big stiff idiot.
The Untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing games are missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, you know, Chris Eubank Sr., he's always been somebody that's cut from a different cloth. I've always been an admirer of Chris Eubank Sr. Funny story before we get into the subject of this video. I used to listen to Chris Eubank Jr. or Sr.'s monologue about the Warriors Code when I used to shadow box in the gym by myself. And he used to get me fired up. So I've always been a fan of his. But for those that know, for those that don't know, Chris Eubank Sr. was on, and shout out to him. Shout out to Tunde Ajayi. Shout out to The Knowledge, Spencer Ferron. Make sure you guys go subscribe to their channel, Stamina for Sale, because they did the old, you know, Babe Ruth, and they just knocked it out the ballpark with this interview with Senior. And I got Chris Eubank Sr. to speak about this whole PED scandal controversy with Conor Benn and his son, Chris Eubank Jr., and their whole fight, how that's off. Now, you guys may remember earlier in the week, last week, Eubank said that we should boycott the fight, but he never specified the reasons as to why. This is before Conor Benn tested positive for PEDs, clomiphene to be exact. But he went on. He said a mouthful in 8 minutes. I mean, it was 8 minutes worth of substance. Basically, I'll hit on all of it here, and then we'll kind of just give up my own little perspective. But starting with his son, first of all, he made it very clear that him and his son are not seeing eye to eye because, you know, he has a way and a direction that he wants to lead his son. So far as his career is concerned, his son has other ideas about how his career should go and sees it going another way. So there's that conflict of father and son, which I'm very familiar with because, as many of you guys know, me and Pops are very close, and like you know, people. It's funny. People always see me and my dad now. Me at 27, me at a much more advanced stage of my life, and we don't really have problems like we used to. When I was younger, like, you know, my adolescent years, we had problems because I was a bit of a hard-headed kid. But as I've gotten older, we've gotten along more. And I'm blessed. I'm very blessed for that because I recognize that not everybody is like that with their fathers. And you know, here we have an example of that with Junior and Senior. Senior made light of the fact that, you know, his son has looked up a lot to Floyd Mayweather Jr. because of the fact that Floyd Mayweather Jr. Flaunts an extravagant lifestyle, cars, money, girls. and he says that that's just not the way to go. That, you know, basically because of that, he's gone astray, and that he's always wanted to prevent his son from becoming a greedy person. Because if one thing I know about boxing, and one thing he probably knows, that he does know for sure on a much deeper level than even I do, because he fought at the highest level, is that if somebody is a greedy person within the sport of boxing, then they are going to be a victim of the greediness of others in the sport of boxing. You see what I'm saying? So he made light of that fact. He made light of the fact that, you know, he doesn't believe that Conor Benn is a cheat, because he believes that Conor Benn, if he was given clomiphene, he would not know really anything about what it would do to his body or what it could do with so far as a drug test is concerned. So he believed that Conor Benn is innocent. He believed that he's not a cheat. He believed that he is a pure young man that was taken advantage of by, you know, a nasty, grotesque, and just unforgiving industry of boxing. You know, I've seen it so many times in boxing. Young, impressionable, really good-spirited, good-hearted kids, young people get taken advantage of because of what? The love of money. The love of money, the lust for pride of life, the desire to have the status at the top of the boxing game, whether it be be it a promoter, be it a manager. You know, these managers and promoters, they oftentimes want that status of being recognized as the best in their field, and they will do it at the expense, sometimes, and very disgustingly, they will do it at the expense of their own fighters. You know what I'm saying? So there was that. And then last but not least, and I really want to camp out on this point, Senior made light of the fact that basically, and this is the way he sees it, and you kind of saw it in the clip at the beginning, he got out of character. You know, Chris Eubank Sr. is normally a measured person, very calm, very eloquent, expresses his ideas in a very, very gentleman-like fashion. You don't really see him curse. You don't really see him get out of character. You don't really see him get angry. He's generally a mild-mannered, nice person for the most part. You know, he's proper, and some would say a little too proper, but he's proper nonetheless. And he got out of character, and he said, listen, you try to kill my boy, I'm coming for you guys. And it was kind of scary, you know, because it's one thing if it's someone who's like animated and always, you know, letting their emotions get the better of them, that's saying this. But to see Senior get that way, you can tell this whole situation with Eubank and Chris Eubank, his son, and Conor Benn has hit him in the chest, you know. And this is a man and Chris Eubank Sr. who's gone through a lot in his life. You know, he did have his son, R.I.P. Sebastian Eubank, who did die of a heart attack. So he said he's lost one son, he doesn't want to lose another, and he sees this as murder because he feels like, okay, the people in the boxing industry are smart enough and they know better that for Chris Eubank Jr., who has competed as high as 168, to have to cut all the way down to 157, a weight he has not been at since he was in high school, he sees it and he deems it as as them trying to murder his son. And you know what? It may sound extreme, but when you factor in that they gave Conor Benn clomiphene, a very, very bad stimulant that would have pumped him up to the gills and put him in a position to be as strong as he's ever been against a weight-trained fighter, that I can see where he's coming from. It is attempted murder, because anybody who knows anything about boxing knows that when you have fluid around, when you're weight drained, you know, there's fluid around your brain, and the less bit that there is, the lower your punch resistance gets. So he's very angry, and rightfully so. He's very disgusted, and rightfully so. You know, I have such admiration for this man, because in this clip when he was talking, and I'll leave the link in the description for you guys so you can watch it for yourself, and make sure you guys go subscribe to Tuna Jai and those boys over there, because they have been delivering some good content, and I'm no hater. When I hear him speak, I hear a lot of my own father. I hear a lot of pops, because I hear a man that cares deeply for his son, who wants the best for his son, and is willing to go to the ends of the earth and come hell or high water, kill if he needs to for his son. That's what I hear. I hear my dad a lot. I got kind of flashbacks of my dad when I was in grade school, going off on teachers and just anybody who really fucked with me, honestly. So, yeah, I hear a lot of that, but I admire this man so much because this is a guy that you can tell he's yearning to do right by his son. He's yearning to do right by his son in the sport of boxing. And listen, I know you guys, for those of you out there who are just boxing fans, who are not in any way involved in the boxing industry, so far as like being having friends in the sport or being in the media, kind of like I am. You know, I could sit here and I could begin to describe and depict just how like dirty this game is, just how much people will go, the lengths people will go to screw you over for some status, for some money, you know. It really is the wild, wild west. And many times when it comes to managers and promoters, they may respect these guys as fighters, but oftentimes that's where they'll draw the line. Sometimes they don't respect them as human beings. And we've seen it this week with Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn he tried until he couldn't no more to make this fight happen. He was gonna let Conor Benn, juice to the gills, fight Chris Eubank Jr., who was weight drained as hell, all for the love of a pound note, of some money and some status, and because, you know, he's probably feeling some pressure to deliver some fights for Leonard Blavatnik in DAZN. You know what I'm saying? So it's really gonna be interesting to see what happens, because the way it sounds like Eubank Sr., that a lot of people in boxing are gonna feel the wrath of Chris Eubank Sr. They're gonna feel, you know, they're gonna feel, see, and know what that side of him what that side of him is like. And you know, I really knew that it was serious. So when I knew Eubank was really sincerely pissed off, angry, taken aback by the whole situation, I knew all that when he started breaking out into Jamaican patois. Because I'm from South Florida, and I know, and I've met and I've encountered and I've dealt with a lot of Jamaican people over the years. I've had Jamaican friends with Jamaican parents, so I'm very I'm familiar with the culture. I'm familiar, like, you know, a lot of times when the Jamaicans get angry, you hear them go from English to breaking into that patois. And you know, when he said it in the 8-minute clip, there was a part where he said, "If you can't hear, you will go feel, and so it'll go." And that's that patois. That's that Jamaican shit. That's that, like, well, you know, when you start hearing things like that, especially from a guy as eloquent and as measured and as graceful as Chris Eubank Sr., you know, for lack of a better term, you know you don't fucked up. You know it's a real problem what's happened with the situation. So I'm not sure what he's gonna do, but if I was Eddie Hearn, if I was Cal Soderlund, if I was Joe Markowski, if I was anybody involved with Matchroom Boxing, Soderlund Boxing, I would run for the hills, run for cover, because Chris Eubank Sr. is coming. So yeah, man, it just goes to show you, like, that's why, and I'm gonna end the video on this note. That's why, like, it's so important in this life, while we're here in the flesh, that we don't gratify the desires of, like, our own flesh. We don't get overconsumed with status in this world. We don't get overconsumed with money in this world. All we can do is trust the Lord. All we can do is trust God to provide for our needs, and if we pray for it earnestly and we do the work, that he'll grant us the desires of our hearts, just so long as we put him first, you know. And that's how I try to be in my own life, and I feel like every man should try to walk a noble life, a noble path like that. Eubank Sr. would call it the warrior's code. You know, the path of the warrior is a difficult, arduous one, but it is a rewarding one. And I think he's taking the right stance. I think, you know, he's been a treasure. I think a lot of people have slated Eubank Sr. for a long time. They slagged him off. But to me, the man is a national treasure, and he's one of the guys in boxing that I really want to meet. And I was taken aback, and it damn near brought tears to my eyes, because like as I heard the pain and the sorrow of his voice from not having the best relationship and seeing eye to eye with his son, I also heard his yearning to want to do right by his son, and it took me back to my adolescent years when I was a kid, when I was a younger man. My dad trying to do right by me, you know. So I'm gonna leave it at that. You guys can make the situation what you want, but the wrath of Chris Eubank Sr. is coming. And if I was Eddie Hearn, if I was anybody involved with this promotion, I would run for cover. I would change my name. I would go into witness protection, because if a man as eloquent and as mild-mannered as him, a man who prides himself on having manners, of treating others with kindness and respect, because that's what he talks about. If you go listen to him talk about the Warriors Code, and believe me, I've spent many rounds shadow boxing in the gym, listening to him talk about the Warriors Code and what it means to walk the path of a warrior, then you would know what comes with these things. You would know what his core values in his life are. And if he's talking out of turn like this, it really means you have done something to severely upset him, and you are in grave danger.
And I think True School Sports, he's the truth. One of the best the best.
Ooh, the number one.
Number one.
Brandon, you've been there, man, and you're building up a good following with us.
Thank you.
And I'm proud to be a part of what you're doing too. You are spectacular, and
thank you, man. All the best to True School Boxing, and keep up the good work.